Everyone wants to be a winner, but nobody wants to think like one before the world validates them. Because here's what most people believe deep down. I'll feel like a winner once I've won. And that belief, it's why they stay stuck. Because the world doesn't reward potential. It rewards conviction. And conviction doesn't come after the win. It precedes it. The real winners? They think like they've already arrived even while they're building from the bottom. Even while no one claps. Even while they're drowning in setbacks, ridicule, and doubt. So let's tear it open. How do you actually think like a winner when everything around you says you're losing? It starts with this. Winners don't trust appearances, they trust patterns. See, most people look at what is and decide what's possible. I'm broke, so I must not be smart. I'm not gaining followers, so I must not have value. I've failed 3 times, so this probably isn't meant for me. But that's not logic. That's emotional panic dressed up as data. Winners know better. They don't look at what's showing right now. They look at what's growing. They trust the roots, not the flowers. Because they know the early stages of mastery look like losing. They know progress is nonlinear. They know delay is not denial. They know compound growth doesn't show its face until most people have already given up. So they hold. They endure. They train, even when it's not sexy, even when it's not visible, even when it looks like they're behind. That's the first mental shift. From judging by outcomes to judging by alignment. Is your input sharp? Is your identity stable? Are you acting in accordance with your vision even when no one's watching? Then you're winning. You just haven't cashed in yet. Let's go deeper. Winners have inner scoreboards. While most people obsess over external validation likes, comments, praise winners track internal signals. Did I keep the promise I made to myself this morning? Did I sit in the discomfort long enough to grow today? Did I move toward my mission even when no one clapped? That's the game. Because the people who win big aren't always the most talented. They're the ones who keep moving when everyone else needs applause to continue. You don't need applause. You need evidence, not from the world from you. You need to prove to yourself that you're someone who moves regardless. And once that's locked in, something shifts. You stop chasing results. You start radiating inevitability. Let's pause here. Most people think winners have some special gift. No, they just made a decision. I will move with conviction long before the world tells me I'm allowed to. And if you don't get that right, you'll spend your life outsourcing belief. So, waiting for signs, waiting for permission, waiting for people to see you before you fully show up. But if you want to win in a world this noisy, you can't wait to be seen. You have to see yourself first. Let's destroy the myth. I'm not ready. It sounds responsible, mature, thoughtful, but it's just fear wearing a tie. Because here's the truth. You don't need to be ready, you need to be real. Winners don't wait until they're ready. They start while it's messy. They start when they still doubt. They start before the lights are on and before anyone claps. Because they understand something crucial. Confidence is a result, not a requirement. Most people think they need to feel ready to begin. But readiness isn't a feeling. It's a function of exposure. You don't become ready and then act, you act. And then readiness is built through repetition. Look at anyone doing something great. They didn't find the courage. They moved before the courage arrived. That's the key. Because if you only move when it feels right, you'll never move. And here's why that matters. The brain confuses familiarity with safety. So if you've only been small, quiet, careful, then power will feel dangerous. Which means if you wait to feel aligned before you act bold, you'll never act bold. Because boldness isn't a natural state. It's a trained response. You build it by moving through discomfort, not by negotiating with it. Let's get tactical. Winners ask themselves better questions when fear shows up. Here's how their self-talk sounds. What's the cost of staying the same? If I fail, will I break or just learn? Am I afraid of the outcome or afraid of how others will perceive me? That's the winner's mind. They don't ignore fear. They interrogate it. They ask it to prove its case. And usually, fear folds under cross-examination. Because when you dig beneath, I'm not ready, you often find a fear of being seen starting small, a fear of doing it wrong in public, fear of losing respect from people who aren't even building anything. And when you name those fears out loud, you take their power away. Now here's what winners do instead. They reframe their entire relationship with action. They don't act to look good. They act to get good. They don't wait until the performance is perfect. They build their craft in public. That's how you start thinking like a winner even when you're losing, because you stop needing momentum to take action. You take action to create momentum. And in doing so, you flip the entire loop. Most people wait to feel motivated, hope for clarity, no wish for permission. Winners act to spark clarity, act to generate belief, act to create their own damn permission. Let's drop the hammer. You're not stuck because of a lack of opportunity. You're stuck because you keep letting fear speak last. This is your chance to reclaim the mic, to move like you mean it, to think like a winner before the scoreboard reflects it. Because if you don't, you'll stay trapped in the most dangerous illusion of all. That growth is something you wait for, instead of something you walk into. You win, on paper at least. The numbers go up. The project works. People are impressed. You get the applause you once prayed for, but something feels hollow, like you're still faking it, like the win doesn't belong to you. Like any minute now, the world's going to realize you're not who they think you are. This is the killer no one sees coming. Success doesn't eliminate insecurity, it amplifies it. And this is where most people break. They think winning will finally fix the doubt. But real winners know, self-doubt doesn't vanish with results. It evolves. So how do you keep winning, even when your inner world still feels fragile? You make the third shift, from performance identity to purpose identity. Let's break it down. A performance identity is built on outcomes. I'm worthy because I achieved, and I'm valuable because I performed, and I'm respected because I produced. But that's a fragile life, because the moment you stop performing or the applause slows down, your identity collapses. You're only as good as your last win, and the pressure to keep proving becomes soul-splitting. That's when the imposter syndrome creeps in. You start to fear your own reputation. You become exhausted by your own image. You spend more time maintaining perception than deepening purpose. Here's the fix. You stop being addicted to being impressive. You start becoming immovable. And that only happens when you shift to a purpose identity. I'm valuable because I'm aligned. I'm powerful because I'm honest. And I'm growing because I show up, not because I always win. Now here's where it gets real. A purpose identity isn't flashy. It's not designed to impress. It's designed to anchor. And when you operate from that place, something profound happens. You stop needing to feel like a winner to act like one. You don't need approval to move. You don't need perfection to lead. You don't need clarity to speak. You become your own ground. That's what makes you unshakable. Let's get tactical. How do you build that? 1, document your actual truth, not for likes, for clarity. Daily journal. Ask, what felt honest today? Not what went well. 2, detach from the scoreboard. Post without checking likes. Create without refreshing views. Move without chasing reaction. 3, act as if the future version of you is watching. Not the crowd, not your critics. The future you. Are you someone they'd be proud of? 4, celebrate alignment, not outcomes. Don't just clap for wins. Clap for integrity, for boundaries held, for fears confronted, for quiet progress. Because the moment you start feeding your identity with truth instead of applause, you gain something almost supernatural. You become untouchable. People can doubt you, cancel you, misunderstand you, mislabel you, but they can't shake you because you're not trying to be someone. You're already home. You've made the shift. You've stopped waiting for permission. You've stopped needing proof. You've started building from identity, not applause. You've stopped being fragile when the noise fades. But here's the final test. Can you keep winning without losing yourself? This is where most break. Because the world will reward you for abandoning your essence. The more visible you become, the more pressure you'll face to package your truth, to commercialize your edge, to dilute your voice so it doesn't offend, to keep playing a character that's marketable. And slowly, you stop evolving, you stop risking, you start maintaining. The winning becomes routine, but the soul goes numb. That's why this final shift matters, from momentum-driven to mission-driven. Because momentum is seductive. It feels like power. You're moving. You're praised. The numbers climb. The inbox floods. But here's the trap. Momentum can become a drug. You chase speed, not substance. You optimize for reaction, not impact. You keep moving fast to avoid asking hard questions. Is this still me? Is this still what I believe in? Am I building something I want to live inside of? And that's where winners either evolve or implode. So what's the shift? You stop chasing fast wins and start chasing timeless truth. You stop measuring your life by metrics. You start measuring by meaning. Because momentum fades. But mission? That's bulletproof. And when you align to mission, your discipline becomes effortless. Your standards become sacred. And your focus becomes terrifying. You stop needing trends to tell you what matters. You start shaping culture because you carry truth, not chase attention. Now let's get tactical. Here's how winners protect their identity as they scale. 1. They audit their alignment constantly. They ask, is this choice building me or draining me? 2. They build margin into their schedule, not just to rest, but to reflect. 3. They stay surrounded by people who aren't impressed, people who hold mirrors, not megaphones. 4. They create space for boredom, because boredom breeds vision. Silence reveals distortion. 5. They decide in advance what success won't cost them, their values, their health, their relationships. Because this is what no one tells you. Winning doesn't require sacrificing your soul, but staying aligned while you win, that takes warrior-level discipline. So here's the final truth. You don't need to win faster. You need to win deeper. You don't need to be louder. You need to be clearer. You don't need to be validated. You need to be devoted. Because you're not here to impress people. You're here to awaken them. And you can't awaken the world if you're asleep to your own identity. This isn't about mindset anymore. It's about mastery. And that kind of winning, it doesn't fade. It multiplies. So go, not with hype, but with holy clarity. Because you're not thinking like a winner anymore. You've become one.